French President Emmanuel Macron has reappointed Sébastien Lecornu as Prime Minister just days after he quit over political infighting. Lecornu must form a government and present a new budget to a hung parliament by Monday. Divisions over reducing France's soaring debt have toppled Lecornu's two predecessors.
Just 4 days after his resignation, Sébastien Lecornu has yo-yoed back into office. France's old and new Prime Minister faces what some observers have called a near impossible task of working out a new budget by Monday.
It is my duty to accept the mission entrusted to me by the President to do everything in my power to give France a budget by the end of the year and to respond to the everyday problems of our compatriots.
But first, Lecornu has to form a new government over the weekend in a parliament that remains deeply fractured. France has been mired in political deadlock ever since Macron called snap elections last year. The vote eroded the president's power bases in parliament and strengthened the far right. France's far-right party, the National Rally, called the move a bad joke, vowing to bring the new government down. Parts of the left-wing opposition voiced their demands for political change.
We've been fighting against these political choices for 8 years. For 8 years, we've been challenging a policy that has given gifts to the richest and imposed austerity on the French people. This must end. And that is what we're asking for, quite simply. The President of the Republic has heard us loud and clear. Now it's up to him to decide.
French President Emmanuel Macron has little room to maneuver. A loyal ally of Macron, France's new Prime Minister Lecornu, said he is convinced he can resolve the country's political crisis without holding new parliamentary elections. The political future of his president may depend on it.
For more on this, I'm joined in the studio by Thibaut Madelin, a French journalist with Les Echos based here in Berlin. Hello, thank you very much for your time. I'm just wondering what's going on in France right now. Lecornu reappointed. What does this really say about Macron's strategy?
It's quite hard to tell for everyone, even for his historical allies, and no one really understands. I think perhaps we see a president mostly isolated, trying to stick to power as long as he can, in front of a huge hostility among politicians, but also among the French people. His popularity is by 14% now, which is the lowest level ever, even worse than François Hollande before him. So I guess Lecornu was the last person he can really trust. But it's a hard bet because everyone was expecting someone from the other side of the political spectrum.
Right. I mean, exactly as you say. I mean, same guy, same problems. What's going to be different this time for Lecornu?
Well, hard to say. He has less allies because the people who were, the parties who were in the majority before are now almost left, or at least they enter into a passive opposition. He has one chance is he can postpone the pension reform, which was up until now a totem for Emmanuel Macron, because it was a hard-fought reform he made in 2023, and now Macron is saying, okay, we can postpone. The question is whether that will be enough to convince the center-left parties, the Parti Socialiste, who have really the key, actually, of the next few days in their hand. They want, actually, this pension reform to be completely cancelled, not just postponed. So, the budget will be on Monday. We'll have a government probably tomorrow, budget on Monday, and a speech of the Prime Minister sometime next week, probably. We are facing a huge time of volatility.
Right. I mean, definitely looks like that, unfortunately. But remind us again what the main issues are that is preventing that sort of cross-party budget agreement.
There are a few things playing a role. He needs a budget that will be not censored by the parliament. On the one hand, you have the Parti Socialiste, which may support him if he just, for instance, cancels the pension reform, and they want even more. They want to tax the rich more, and they actually wanted a prime minister because they thought after the snap election last year they came first. They didn't have a majority, but they came first, and since then there is a sort of no one understands really why they didn't have a prime minister of their own. So there will be three things which are incompatible with the other side of the political spectrum and Macron's allies. In the first place, Les Républicains, centre-right party, who say they won't even take part of the government, and they won't support it if the pension reform is cancelled. So it's a conundrum.
So Lecornu needs to appoint a government this weekend, submit a 2026 budget bill by Monday, as we said earlier. What happens if he fails?
If he fails, that means if it doesn't come, to bring a government and the budget will be voted later. But he might get, there might be a censorship during the week after a political speech at the Assemblée Nationale. If that happens, that will lead most likely, and I don't see any other issue, to a new snap election. The question really is how long Emmanuel Macron can, stand the pressure and not resign, which is really the main goal of the Rassemblement National on the far right and the Insoumis on the far left.
Right. Still a lot to figure out. Journalist Thibaut, Madelin, thank you very much.
Thank you.